The next important part of the 12.5 folder is the concept of list templates. So if you remember before that when we were in SharePoint, we have the ability to create different lists. So not only can we create sites, but we actually have the ability to go into our create content and we get all these different lists and document libraries that we can create. Now, again, just like with site templates, we can do our own configurations like we did, adding various columns, and then we can actually go in and save that off as a site template. So like we did in payroll forms, where we added various site columns by going into the payroll forms and then going into our our settings of creating site columns and creating views. There's actually another way to do that that allows us to save that and use it across different webs and different site collections. Now, this is the same type of concept as the site definitions. We can actually make our list templates within the 12.5 folder. Now, again, don't try to get caught up in remembering all the ins and outs of exactly what these XML files are. Remember where you need to look to find the things to help make it easier to make your own. And coming up soon, I'll show you some tricks in Visual Studio which helps make this go a lot easier. But for right now, I want you to get an understanding of what the important files are, what is contained within those files, not how it's contained, but just generally what is contained, and then be able to go back and look through them later on. List templates are actually deployed within a feature. We'll talk more about features later on, but right now I've gone into the 12.5 template features links list. So this is the site template used to create a list of links to other websites. Don't bother paying attention to the feature.xml right now. We'll talk about that later. For now, what we're going to pay attention to is the list.xml and the other schema.xml. Now, the list.xml is used like the webtemp.xml file. This essentially defines that this list is going to exist. It doesn't tell us what it does. It tells us that it's going to exist. In it, there is a list template element, and that list template element allows you to define its name, as well as the list type and the base type. And in SharePoint, each list has an ID number associated with it. So this one, for example, is of type 103. And when I am extending my SharePoint lists or creating new instances of the SharePoint list, I do it by these IDs. They cannot be duplicated. So you need to, I believe it's Microsoft reserves everything below 10,000. So when you are creating your new list, it needs to be greater than 10,000 for its type ID. Additionally, you can define the default security bits, which essentially says read, write, and that sort of thing. And then the last thing of interest is the sequence ID. The sequence ID tells it where it is supposed to show up in the order of the create page. So if you're in here and you go into create a new list, the sequence ID tells it under custom lists, does it show up first, second, third, etc., etc., etc. And so the higher the sequence ID, the lower down this list it appears.